Hello viewers, it's a privilege and honor to have Mr. Andrew Fleming, Press Deputy High Commissioner for Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. Thank you very much, sir. Indeed, it's a privilege and honor. The traditional welcome, you understand the love towards India. Thank you so much, sir. So since we are here, now I just want to ask you a few questions if you allow me, sir. Can I?
Sure.
Thank you very much. Now, first and foremost, when we talk about education for India, sir, like, UK is, like an ocean. So if you can talk about something like how we can consolidate to a greater extent.
So you're asking about how you can improve education offering in India.
Exactly.
Drawing on UK
Yes.
experience. And let me say before anything else that the agency that is responsible for promoting the UK's education offer globally is the British Council. And we work very closely with the British Council, but they lead on that, and not I. But nevertheless, I do think there is a lot of potential to draw on the experience that the UK have in the area of education here in India, and particularly, I would say here in Hyderabad and in the Telugu-speaking states. Before the COVID pandemic, we had something like 20 plus vice chancellors come and visit this city within a year, all of them representing some of the top universities in the UK, and all of them interested in opportunities. Now, let me be honest, some of them were primarily looking at how they can entice more students to choose to study in the UK, and I am bound to say that is a fantastic offer in itself, but obviously it's not something that each and every person can afford. But many of them are also looking at other opportunities, including collaborations and partnerships here in India, some of them here particularly in this city. Whereby they can associate with other institutions and upgrade and upskill to be able to offer a better quality of course opportunities for the students here. And there are a number of different institutions that are actively looking at that. I think the COVID pandemic has slowed that process down slightly, as you will understand. But I can tell you that even in the last 2 weeks, I've been talking to 2 institutions that are specifically looking at that issue, and they are 2 of a number. So definitely there's scope there. I also think, because of the pandemic, we are now in a situation where many of our children have not been in school for a year or for much of the year. For some children, they've thrived and they've been able to get on with their studies independently through the broadcasts or through online classes. But for many children, even one of my own, I have to say, it's been very difficult. So I think there is scope to learn about how best to deliver online learning in the future, because the problems that we've had in the past year are probably not going to be completely resolved overnight. There may be periods in the future where learning is still not going to be possible in the classroom, as was the case in the past. And I believe that the UK has knowledge and experience already in that area, which can be utilised to, again, upskill teachers to be able to quickly identify the difference between those students who are up to speed and those that are struggling in different ways. And again, I've been in conversations with UK institutions that want to help in that area too. So again, it's something that is very much in the pipeline, but something that I'm confident can help. And then, of course, there's a wider EdTech area. And I mean, EdTech was a terminology that I'd hardly even heard about before the start of the pandemic. But now you read about EdTech in so many articles. I have a dedicated colleague sitting here in Hyderabad who's leading on EdTech. Post-pandemic, I do see, EdTech having a huge space in the way that education is delivered in the future, because I think there's no doubt we're going to see a lot more blended learning going forward. Some of the EdTech solutions are also quite exciting. And there is some great innovation coming out of the UK. At the same time, I have to say there's some great innovation coming out of India. But often, to perfect things, you have to have these collaborations between the startups and between the experts from different countries to really get things sharp and pinpointed. So I'm very, very confident and very optimistic that the UK can play a great role in upskilling the education offer here in India. And I believe that centrally reform in terms of what is possible in terms of the involvement of British universities and other institutions here in India is gradually changing, and that opens up more opportunities, which is all really, really exciting.
Fantastic. That's the reason I told you, I'm nowhere somewhere else. I'm in the ocean where, we can talk about education. You understand the way Mr. Andrew Fleming, he just expressed everything very explicitly, very honestly, very candidly. That's very nice of you. It was about education. Now, Mr. Andrew, what I want to ask you, what about the trade and commerce? You have seen India and UK, we are so closely related, which way we can consolidate to an extent where we can reach to the pinnacle of the success? Like which way? What do you have?
I mean, the UK's relationship with India, as you say, is extremely deep, unique, and special, and transcends food, sport, so many other things. And we have a huge Indian diaspora in the UK. Indeed, our largest diaspora in the UK are from India. So. There are a lot of links, and there are a lot of opportunities, and we have around 200 people here in India who work for our Department of International Trade. They sit in Delhi. They sit in 7 deputy high commissions, of which this one in Hyderabad is but one. They sit in addition in a trade office we have in Pune. And we are looking across a multitude of sectors. Here in Hyderabad, the ones that we are most focused on would be life sciences. Hyderabad makes 1 in 3 of the world's vaccines, according to data that's regularly quoted. But they do a whole load more in that space. We focus on tech. And tech is a very broad area. We've just talked about EdTech, but there's agri-tech, clean tech, biotech, many other types of tech. I mean, tech is added to almost every word these days, is it not? So a whole host of diverse opportunities in that space, a whole host of, again, this linkage between some of the fantastic innovation that comes out of a city like Hyderabad and in the UK, we have some other brilliant programmers, coders, and others, engineers. The head of one of the big tech players in India, who I met privately a while ago, I'm not going to divulge his company or who he is, told me that the best software engineers, in his opinion, by far, came from the UK, which is a huge compliment to somebody who has spent most of his life in the US. And of course, the US and Hyderabad and Telugu states have a very strong link as well. That can't be ignored. But I was very proud when this individual shared that view. The point is that we have lots and lots going on in the UK in that area. not everything happens in London. We have a number of regions. We have places like Bristol, and indeed wider southwestern Indian cities like Exeter, where there is a lot of emerging tech, including AI, AR, VR, all of that. And indeed, at the moment, there is a live virtual mission going on between companies in the southwest and India who are interested in entering the Indian market. So we'll be hosting an event for them indeed next week here, and this is but one. And we have other regions. We have the West Midlands. I'm meeting somebody from the West Midlands today to talk about how we can collaborate, focusing on the Tier 2 city of Warrangal. Whether that will happen or not, it's early days, it's the first meeting, but I say it again to illustrate the fact that we shouldn't just think about the big centres like Hyderabad and London. We need to think about the opportunities beyond these in the Tier 2 cities, the Tier 3 cities, so we're ongoing doing work in that area. We have the Northwest, and indeed the whole north of England, but Manchester being a city that has attracted a lot of interest from this region. A couple of big investments have gone into Manchester from Telugu companies recently, and I know that there's a number of companies in Manchester that are extremely interested in the opportunities here in India too. Last year we had a delegation that came to demonstrate graphene. And graphene is a material which can be used in many ways, but particularly in providing lighter weight and therefore more cost-effective transport. How can we collaborate with them? This was a conversation again that was going on before COVID, and one that we hope to pick up again. And their hub, their research centre, the place that graphene was actually discovered was in Manchester. So really exciting, and I'm not even getting on to talk about Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland, which are also other parts that make up the overall United Kingdom. Each of those places has great offers. Hyderabad has great offers, and beyond the ones I've mentioned, of course, you have the aerospace and defence, you have cyber security, you have the most 100+ bed hospitals in the world here in Hyderabad, so healthcare is another big area. And all of these areas are ones in which I think the UK has great offers. So my job is to try to promote the opportunities here and try to make linkages between companies in the UK that are interested in coming to India, those in India that see that they need partnerships and collaborations in the UK, and that's a big part of what we do. And I would say that during the pandemic, during the last year, there has been a really interesting development in that a lot of people that might naturally have gone to place X or place Y because of their connections there, often from here it has been the US, have been constrained at home and they've gone more and more deeply online. And by doing that, they've been open up to other alternatives, other opportunities. And for a lot of people, the offer of the UK has come more to prominence. They've identified opportunities in the UK, regions in the UK where they're interested. And equally the same has been true of companies in the UK that might not have thought about coming to India, or might have thought it's too difficult to enter the Indian market compared to other places where we're already engaged. And again, there's been a change of heart. I mean, this Southwest Tech for Good mission that I mentioned happens to have been oversubscribed, which illustrates the demand for now exploring this opportunity. And I'm sure many of the companies that will be visiting virtually through that and through the other engagements we've had in the past year will be very keen to come to India as soon as circumstances allow. And my small team and I will be here ready and willing to help and support them.
Fantastic. That's the reason I told you. When I want to talk to Mr. Andrew Fleming, Fleming, he's got fantastic knowledge. He has spoken all about London, everything. Not only about London, he's entire covered about United Kingdom and vice versa. What he was emphasizing about Hyderabad also, the relationship, what he wants to make it very comfort. Thanks very much, Mr. Andrew. Now, one thing more I want to tell you. To be honest enough, since I love UK, it's a fact. I've been to UK. I can say England. I've been 6 times. So the love towards my love in England. But what I want to ask you is, do you have any strategy for tourism? Like because I've seen a lot of beautiful monuments, a lot of great things in UK, same as India. Do you have any strategy where we can do to a greater extent?
More people from here going to the UK is what you're asking. Well, I mean, of course, we would love that. We have a dedicated team who go under the Visit Britain. Visit Britain is the name. They're on social media. You can find Visit Britain India and Visit Britain on Twitter and I think on Instagram and other platforms. They promote, just like British Council, promote education. They promote the British tourism offer. And we, in 2019, we saw record numbers of Indians choosing to go to the UK, smashing all records. The reason for that, of course, was because the Cricket World Cup happened to be in England that year, and that certainly helped. But the feedback from that experience, all the people that went to the UK, and in addition to seeing their 1 or 2 games, visited Scotland or Wales or different parts of England, was incredible. And there's no better person to sell a destination than another national of the origin country who has been there, come back, and talks about a wonderful experience. So, like you, I'm meeting many people who are really passionate about the UK, really keen to go there, and the UK is very, very much open and welcome to increasing its tourism. I would love to see. If I'm perfectly honest, I'd love to see more British people visiting Hyderabad because I think equally you have a beautiful city here.
Yes, definitely.
And it's not somewhere that's on the radar. But just as I've spoken about the regions of the UK, a lot of people say I want to go to London, but they don't really understand of all of the opportunities outside of London. There's so many different possibilities there, depending what your interests are, and it's worth looking into those and trying to make more of a visit to the UK, and Visit Britain definitely is your first port of call.
Definitely. That's very nice of you. We've covered education, we covered tourism, we covered trade and commerce. Now the point is about the students. Look, a few students they have got some ambiguous thought, like what they think is going to UK is tough. If you can just address about that, if they have all the perfect papers, perfect documents, is it easy for them?
Yeah. The vast majority, I don't have the figures to hand, but the vast majority of those Indian students that choose to study in the UK, they get their visa without an issue if they have all the documents, and everything that you require to go and study in the UK is quite clearly listed. My advice to people is look at what you need. If you're missing something, then maybe you wait for 6 months or a year before you make your application. But when you can honestly say you have all the things that are listed in the requirements, then go ahead and go for it. If cost puts you off, please look at some of the opportunities that exist, particularly for those who want to do masters and maybe have been working for 2 or more years. We have the Chevening program. That's CHEVENING. If you look up chevening.org, you will see about the range of scholarships that we sponsor in the UK each year. But there are many other scholarship opportunities in the UK too for outstanding young people that might not otherwise have the means to study. British Council have been very recently, I'm not sure if the doors are still open, but I think they are, They're promoting opportunities to study in the area of sciences, STEM, for women who are otherwise unable to study abroad. So that's a live offer. I put on my Twitter account and the office's Twitter account, which is UK in Hyderabad. Mine is Andrew 007 UK. I put all of these scholarship opportunities up for people to see. And we try and promote them through other means and through the influencers here, because it's important that they get as much visibility as possible. If I'm honest, I would like to improve the amount of visibility in these states of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, and get even more applicants from this region. I think overall they're a little bit underrepresented still. US is still a big draw, and of course, if you need to be funded, you apply for scholarships everywhere. But do consider the UK offers, and do follow up those routes and follow those handles, because you won't miss out on any opportunities that we are aware of. And I think the UK as a place to study is a safe place, as you've mentioned. There is a strong connection between UK and India. I think people go to study abroad for different reasons. Some people want to have that opportunity of completely immersing in a different culture. Other people really feel they are missing their own culture, and if you're one of those people when you're studying and it's much more academically driven, you're never going to be far from somebody and something that's going to make you remember home and feel a little bit better. And I think all of us at some point, if we're away, might need to have that opportunity. So a great offer. The UK has, I think, in the current figures, 3 of the top 10 and 17 of the top 100 universities in the world, something in that order. It obviously changes every year, but it's quite considerable when you consider the size of our nation.
Okay. That's very nice of you. Now, Mr. Andrew, now the amount of knowledge what you have given, and can say big thank you for that.
Yeah.
Now, the question what I want to ask you is, if we have seen across Hyderabad, or in fact you have done a lot of philanthropist activities. So if you can name them, somewhere we saw you're just going in some old age home, you just went there. People are very happy about that. So if you can just tell, how do you feel about that?
Every year on my wife's birthday, she likes to visit somewhere and give. She's a Buddhist, and according to Buddhism, you should be giving and donating on your birthday. To be honest with you, the offer to visit that particular home came from an organisation, and embarrassingly, I can't think of their name immediately, but it came from an organisation to go to the Fatima Old People's Home that do feeding in different homes around the city for old people. And I was very attracted to that idea, because we normally go and visit orphanages around her birthday. And we have done that, I think, 2 or 3 times. So the chance to go and do something for elderly people was very meaningful for both she and I. And we took up the invitation to visit this home, which is in the shadow of Farakuma Palace, and participate in an event. And privately, my wife, as always, wanted to make a small donation to the home, which she did. Other times we've arranged for the food and fruits and other things directly, but this time it wasn't quite the same. The event, nevertheless, was very moving, very humbling for us. My father is 90, he lives on his own in the UK. Some people are very shocked by that, but he's a fiercely independent person. But he gets some degree of kindness and support from our neighbours. It's really heartening here to see that for relatively small proportion of elderly people that are outside of a family support network. That there are people that really are trying to care and support them here too. It's a very different structure to the UK, of course, but we were very humbled by that, and it was a very special day for my wife to be able to be part of that, and something that we were both long remember. And I think in general, wherever you are, if you're in the ability to help somebody else, even in a small way, whatever your situation, whatever your means, and whatever you want to do to help, I commend it, and you feel good. But I think Hyderabad is a city of a lot of good-hearted people that really do want to help those less fortunate than themselves, be they humans or even be they animals. I mean, again, my wife is a big fan of street dogs. We have 3 of them outside that she rescued as puppies from almost certain death, and now have taken over our garden and our huts. I recommend that to all of your viewers.
Thank you. That's what, just a final question what I want to ask you is like, any suggestion, to youngsters, what they can do in their life, any perfect suggestion for the youngsters?
Well, it's not easy being young. I didn't particularly enjoy being young. I hope my sons will look back and feel that their childhood was a little bit happier. But I think that, as you go through life, you meet so many different people. And every single person you meet in life offers you an opportunity. You may or may not take every opportunity. Indeed, for most people, it's impossible to take every opportunity because you cannot engage every person you meet. But every person you choose to engage will teach you something. It may be a positive, it may be a value, it may be a negative thing, and you think, my God, I would never want to be like this person, or I would never want to do that. But you will learn something from every person you meet in your life. And the more you engage with people, the more you will become wise. So I urge people not to stay in their comfort zones, but to engage, safely, of course, if you're young, but engage with as many people as you can. Be open to people. Listen. Listening is a very important skill. Listen to what people have to tell you. Put yourself in that person's position, particularly if you perceive that you are in a better economic, financial, or situation of happiness than they might be. Try to put yourself in their position. Try to understand their thoughts and the factors that put them where they are. I think that is one of the things that I was taught to do by my late mother, and I think it's one of the things that has helped me a lot on life's journey. There's a poet that I very much like called Maya Angelou, who is a African American poet who was involved also in the struggles for equality for her community in the US. But Maya Angelou's poems, I think, are some of the most beautiful that you can read. And I think I would encourage any young person in the sort of teenage years onwards, if you haven't already come across Maya Angelou at school, do look for her and do Google her poet, I Rise. I Rise is one of the most beautiful and powerful poems you can wish to read. It's my personal favourite, and particularly appropriate to mention as we approach International Women's Day in just a few days' time. And also, as well as reading that poem, she had a saying: people will forget what you say, people will forget what you do, but people will never forget how you make them feel. And I think my last point is remember that saying and try to live by that saying, and I don't think you'll go far wrong.
That is what, that's the reason I told you, we are really thankful, Mr. Andrew Fleming. The fact is, the amount of knowledge what you have given from the education till tourism, indeed it's a privilege and honor. The first thing, what we want to say is, really we have a great understanding from you. Thank you so much. Now, one question which it is my personal thing. If someone wants to study in Oxford, is there any way out they can study? Because I love to study in Oxford, but I couldn't. But if someone wants to study in Oxford, do you think is there any strategy, any way where they can?
Well, I think, there are different ways in which you can study in Oxford. Of course, you can go there and study a full first degree or master's, of course, if you can be accepted and get in. It's a highly competitive university, but I believe that everybody should aim for the stars. So if you're a young person and your desire is to study in Oxford, you should follow your dream, you should go for it, and if you get to the point where you feel you can apply, you should apply with an open mind. I think it's extremely competitive, as I said, to get into Oxford. I think you really have to work on your CV, even as a student. Don't while away your holidays playing video games and hang out with your friends. Look at volunteering opportunities, look at mentoring opportunities, look at the opportunities of having the job placement, any of internship is the word I'm looking for. All of those things, you need to really pack it up. Show that you're somebody that really doesn't waste a minute of life, because life is really valuable, because you really have to stand above every other student in the interview, in addition to being academically in the very top end of the range, to have a chance to go to Oxford. And I say this because my son wants to go to Cambridge, Oxford's rival, if you like. You have this term in the UK, Oxbridge, encompassing both of our great universities. I mentioned the UK had 3 of the top 10 universities. Oxford and Cambridge are both in the top 3. My son, actually, my elder son, he wants to study at Cambridge and has done for a number of years, and is quite clear and focused that that is his aim. And as long as that continues to be his aim as his parent, I must encourage him to believe in that. And actually, I believe he has a good chance. He's heading in the right direction and is taking his study seriously, which really you have to do if you want to be in the game of going to one of these top universities. But whatever your aspiration, whether it's going to Oxford or whether it's to do anything else, I really do think people should follow their dreams, but try to not just dream, also think about what steps they may need to take to get them to that point. I've had many struggles in my own life. It would have been hard to imagine that a boy that couldn't even write in a way anybody could read, age 13 or 14, could end up in a role like this. But here I am. I have dyslexia, and it turns out some dyspraxia as well. So hidden disabilities. And I could easily say, well, I have these problems. That's it. I can't do this. I can't do that. I've never allowed that to be an impediment. Indeed, I believe that anybody who has any of these neurodiverse conditions actually also has many skills to bring to the table. And you need to just learn how to harness those skills and use them to your advantage so that you can pursue and achieve your ambition. I think that's one of the areas that I really do enjoy talking about to young people. Probably 1 in 10 young people or more have a neurodiverse condition. Many of them won't even know it. But understanding and learning about these and not stigmatizing them is really important. And for people who are in leadership positions anywhere, if they have them, I believe they should be open. And that's why I'm sharing this here, because nothing should be an impediment to achieve your dream.
Thank you so much. Indeed, all over the world, whoever watching this, definitely will be doing that. One thing is quite clear: the amount of knowledge what Mr. Andrew Fleming, he's the British Deputy High Commissioner for Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. The amount of knowledge everyone is getting, we should be quite thankful because the time what they have given in, indeed, it was so tough. I've requested, and we are very glad that you have given time, sir. I can tell you one thing, all over the world, whoever watching this, wonderful, it's an exclusive of 45 minutes conversation what we had. I can assure you if you can go through that, it was from the motivational line, it was to the education, it was tourism, it was trade and commerce, it was everything, You can say that in 45 minutes of this pack, if you can go through, you will be mind-boggling, be learning maximum things. Thank you very much, I can say, indeed, it's a privilege and honor that you have given time to us. We can say India and UK will definitely conquer the world. Thank you so much, sir.